When I asked her not to trip with her guy best friend, she posted, "Men think they control you." I said nothing, just changed my status to single, called off the wedding, and told her to find another place. Then all hell broke loose. I never knew a single post could shatter everything. But when I saw it, my future, my trust, and 4 years of my life evaporated in an instant, leaving behind a cold, brutal truth. My apartment, usually a haven of quiet comfort, felt like an icy tomb that night. But to truly understand how I got there, I need to take you back a few months. Look, I'm 29, and just 6 months ago, I was convinced I had it all figured out. I'd been with my fiancée, Scarlett, for 4 amazing years, and our wedding was only 8 months away. We met at a backyard barbecue back in 2021 through some mutual friends. Honestly, it felt so easy from day one. She was a marketing coordinator, I was in software development, and we just clicked into this comfortable rhythm. Most nights we'd cook dinner together, weekends were for Netflix binges, and we'd talk about buying a house in the suburbs someday. Nothing flashy, just solid, real. Her parents loved me, my mom adored her. When I proposed last March at that cozy cabin we rented upstate, she cried for 20 minutes straight. Everything felt utterly perfect, I genuinely believed we were building something permanent. Then Chloe came back to town, and that's when everything started to unravel. Chloe was Scarlett's college friend, one of those people who pop up in old Instagram photos with red Solo cups and matching Halloween costumes. They were super close during sorority days, but Chloe moved to Denver right after graduation for a tech startup, so they'd only kept in touch with texts and birthday posts. I'd only met her twice at weddings. She seemed fine, a bit loud and energetic, always the center of attention, but harmless enough. Then last September, Chloe moved back for a new job, and suddenly she was everywhere. Scarlett was ecstatic, gushing about having her best friend back, how they had so much catching up to do. I was genuinely happy for her. Scarlett had been feeling a little isolated, her work friends either married with kids or single and clubbing, neither of which fit our vibe anymore. The first few weeks seemed normal enough. They'd meet for brunch on Sundays or grab drinks after work. Scarlett would come home, telling me all about Chloe's dating disasters, her crazy boss, or whatever drama was brewing at her company. I didn't think twice about it. But then Chloe started bringing Leo around. And that's when things really shifted. Leo was apparently another college friend, part of their old group back at State, described by Chloe as her best guy friend since forever. From what Scarlett told me, he'd moved to Phoenix after college and was now back as a business consultant. The three of them started hanging out constantly. It was this whole college reunion thing, going to their old bars, taking pictures at campus spots, posting everything with captions like "the crew is back together." I'll admit, I felt a little left out, but I'm really not the jealous type. Scarlett always invited me along, initially. The problem was, their hangouts were usually on weeknights when I had early meetings, or at places that were honestly too loud and crowded for my taste. So, I'd decline and tell her to have fun. That's when things really started changing in ways I just couldn't ignore. Scarlett had never been super into fitness, but suddenly she was waking up at 5:30 a.m. for this CrossFit gym Chloe belonged to. She bought a whole new, expensive athletic wardrobe, talking constantly about macros and meal prep. Don't get me wrong, I was supportive, telling her she looked great and I was proud of her. But it felt less like a personal goal and more like she was trying to keep up with Chloe, who was always posting gym selfies with captions about grinding and no days off. Then came the group chat that completely took over our lives. I'd be sitting next to Scarlett on the couch, watching a movie, and her phone would light up every 30 seconds with messages from State Crew Forever. She'd be typing away with this huge smile, and if I asked what was so funny, she'd say, "Oh, just something Chloe said," or "Leo is so ridiculous." But she wouldn't show me the messages. And her phone suddenly had a passcode, which was completely new. We'd always had an open phone policy, not controlling, just trusting. Our entire social life got hijacked, too. We used to do things with my friends or her work friends, but now every single weekend revolved around what Chloe and Leo were doing. Chloe wants to check out that new rooftop bar, or Leo got us tickets to this comedy show, or we're all doing brunch at that place downtown. It was always the four of us. And honestly, Leo seemed decent enough at first. Maybe a little too much finance bro energy with the humble bragging about his apartment or car, but friendly on the surface. What really bothered me, though, was how Scarlett acted around them. She laughed louder, drank way more than usual, stayed out later on work nights. A few times she came home past midnight on a Tuesday when she had work at 8 a.m. When I'd ask if everything was okay, she'd immediately get defensive and snap, "I'm allowed to have fun with my friends." Which wasn't what I was saying at all. The real breaking point came about 3 months after Chloe moved back. We were at this beautiful Italian restaurant for Chloe's birthday, candlelight, expensive wine. I was trying to be social, even though I'd had a brutal week at work and just wanted to be home. Chloe was holding court, as usual, telling some story about a disastrous Hinge date, and everyone was laughing like it was the funniest thing ever. Then, between the main course and dessert, Chloe gets this look on her face, like she's about to announce something huge. She proceeds to tell us she booked a weekend getaway to Sonoma County at some boutique winery hotel. It would be her, Leo, and Scarlett. Just the three of them, like old times, she gushed, a whole weekend of wine tasting, spa treatments, and reconnecting with our college roots. I'm sitting there, thinking she's going to extend the invitation to me, but she doesn't. She just looks at Scarlett with this expectant smile, and Scarlett's already nodding enthusiastically, like, this is the best idea ever. I kept my voice casual when I asked if it was just the three of them going. Chloe waved her hand dismissively, mumbling something about it being a college friend nostalgia thing. Scarlett squeezed my hand under the table and told me I'd be bored anyway since I don't even like wine that much, which was true, but completely beside the point. I didn't make a scene at the restaurant, just said we'd talk about it later, but I could feel my jaw clenching through the rest of the meal. On the drive home, I asked Scarlett if she really thought it was appropriate to go on a romantic weekend trip with another guy while we were engaged and planning a wedding. She got immediately defensive, saying Leo was just a friend and I was being insecure. I told her it wasn't about trust, it was about respect and boundaries. She shot back that I was being controlling and that she'd already committed to going. We argued for over an hour that night. I finally just asked her plainly not to go. She went silent for a minute, then said she'd already told Chloe yes, and the hotel was already paid for. I suggested she could pay Chloe back, and we could do our own trip to Sonoma County someday. She called me ridiculous, saying she wasn't going to let me dictate who she could be friends with or where she could travel. We didn't speak for the rest of the night, and I slept on the couch for the first time in our entire relationship. The next morning at breakfast, she flat out told me she was definitely going and that I needed to work on my trust issues. I tried one more time to calmly explain this wasn't about trust, but about how it looked and how it made me feel. She cut me off, saying she was tired of running every little thing by me because we weren't married yet. That sentence hit different. Not married yet. Like the engagement meant nothing, like our 4 years together didn't matter. I just told her she was right and walked out. I went to work and couldn't focus on anything. By lunch, I'd made up my mind, if she actually went on this trip, we were completely done. That Friday afternoon, before she even left for the airport, she posted on Instagram. It was a photo of her with a suitcase and sunglasses, looking totally excited, with a caption asking why men think a ring means ownership and saying she was running toward her happiness this weekend. She tagged it with wine emojis and mentioned Sonoma County with her favorite people. At least 5 people tagged me in the comments, asking if everything was okay between us. I didn't respond to anyone. I just sat in my apartment, staring at that post, and something inside me went completely cold and calm. I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I had an entire weekend to do it. I spent Saturday and Sunday methodically taking care of business. First, I changed my relationship status on Facebook to single, no explanation needed. Then I started calling vendors. The wedding venue? Cancelled. Lost the $2,000 deposit, but I honestly didn't care. The caterer? Cancelled. The DJ? Cancelled. The photographer? Cancelled. Every single vendor got a call, every contract terminated. I documented everything in a spreadsheet because that's just how my brain works when I'm in crisis mode. Then I called Scarlett's parents. I actually had a good relationship with them, and I wanted them to hear it from me first. I explained what happened, told them about the Instagram post, told them I'd cancelled the wedding. Her mom actually cried on the phone and apologized to me, saying she was ashamed of her daughter's behavior and that she'd raised her better than this. Her dad was quieter, but I could tell he was deeply disappointed in Scarlett, too. The last thing I did was draft an email to Scarlett. The subject line was simply, "You have 30 days." I attached a formal eviction notice because, technically, the apartment lease was only in my name. I didn't write a long, emotional letter or try to explain myself. The notice said everything that needed to be said. I sent it Sunday evening. Then I did something I hadn't done in 4 years. I downloaded a dating app. Not because I was ready to date, but because I wanted to remind myself that there was life after this relationship. I swiped for maybe 20 minutes before I got tired of it and went to bed. Scarlett didn't see any of it until Sunday night when she got back from Sonoma County around 9 p.m. I was sitting on the couch, watching a basketball game, when she walked in, all glowing and relaxed. She started telling me about the wine tastings, the amazing dinners, how beautiful the vineyards were. I just looked at her calmly and told her to check her email. She pulled out her phone, looking confused, and I watched her face change as she scrolled. First confusion, then shock, then complete panic. She asked if I was serious. I told her, completely serious. She started crying immediately, saying I was overreacting, that it was just a weekend with friends, that nothing happened with Leo. I told her I didn't actually care if anything happened or not, because the disrespect alone was enough for me to be done. She begged me to reconsider, said we could go to counseling, said she'd cut off Chloe and Leo completely if that's what I wanted. I told her it was way too late for that, and she needed to figure out where she was going to live. She ended up calling her sister, Natalie, who lived across town, and packed a bag that night. Before she left, she screamed at me that I'd regret this, that I was throwing away 4 years over nothing, that everyone would see what a controlling psycho I was. I didn't engage at all, just held the door open and waited for her to leave. The apartment felt incredibly quiet after she was gone, but also somehow lighter, like I could finally breathe properly for the first time in months. The next few weeks were messy, like breakups always are. Scarlett stayed with Natalie and kept texting me these long, emotional messages about how much she loved me, how I was making a huge mistake. I didn't respond to any of them at first. My friend Noah, who'd been my roommate before Scarlett moved in, even offered to move back in to help with rent. But then, about 3 weeks after the breakup, Scarlett's texts changed completely. They became less defensive and more genuinely apologetic. She admitted she'd gotten caught up in reliving her college days and had lost sight of what actually mattered. She said she'd already cut off Chloe completely and that she wanted to fight for us. I'll be honest, 4 years is a long time to just throw away over one bad decision. We'd built a life together, and maybe I'd been too hasty in burning everything down. My mom had been calling me, asking if I was really sure about this, saying that sometimes people make mistakes and deserve second chances. So, after about a month of Scarlett consistently apologizing and showing real remorse, I agreed to meet her at this diner near our old apartment. She looked genuinely remorseful when she walked in, not defensive or angry like before. We talked for over 2 hours about everything that had gone wrong, about boundaries, respect, and communication. She swore nothing had happened with Leo in Sonoma County, it had just been wine tasting and dinners as friends. She cried and told me she understood why I'd reacted the way I did, and that she'd spend however long it took rebuilding my trust. Against my better judgment, and definitely against Noah's advice, I agreed to give it another shot. We decided to take it slow, start over, almost like we were dating again. She moved back in about 2 weeks later, and for the first month, things were actually really good. She was attentive and present in a way she hadn't been in months. No more secret group chats, no more late nights out, no more Chloe drama. We went to couples counseling twice a week and started talking about maybe planning a smaller wedding for the following year. Noah moved out again, though he told me I was making a huge mistake and that I'd regret this. I honestly thought maybe we'd actually make it through this and come out stronger than before. Then, about 6 weeks after we got back together, I found her old iPad. She'd left it charging in the closet, and I grabbed it, thinking it was mine because we had the same model. When I unlocked it, I realized it was hers. I was about to put it back when I saw iMessage notifications popping up. Here's the thing about iPads, they sync to your phone and keep message histories, even after you delete them from your phone. I know I shouldn't have looked, but something in my gut just screamed at me to check. I opened her messages with Leo, and my stomach completely dropped. The messages went back months, way before the Sonoma County trip even happened. Leo had been telling her he'd always had feelings for her since college, that he thought about her constantly, that seeing her again made him realize she was the one who got away. And Scarlett had been responding, not shutting him down at all. Messages like, "You always knew how to make me feel special," and sometimes, "I wonder what would have happened if we dated back then." There were inside jokes and late-night conversations, this whole emotional affair I'd known nothing about. Then I scrolled to the Sonoma County messages. And there they were, photos she'd never posted publicly. Pictures of them holding hands on a vineyard tour. A photo of them kissing at sunset with wine glasses in their hands. A selfie of them in bed together, with the caption, "Best weekend ever." I felt physically sick, sitting there on the closet floor. I realized the woman who'd been sleeping next to me for the past 6 weeks, crying about second chances, had been lying to my face the entire time. I didn't confront her immediately. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my email. When Scarlett got home from work that evening, I had all the evidence pulled up on my laptop. I just turned the screen toward her without saying a word and watched her face go white. She started with denials, then excuses about how it was just emotional support. I pulled up the kissing photo and the bed selfie and asked her to explain those. She broke down crying and admitted they'd hooked up that weekend in Sonoma County, but swore it was just once. I told her to pack her stuff and get out, immediately. This time, there was no begging that would work, no counseling, nothing. Noah helped me change the locks. That same night, Scarlett went back to Natalie's, and I blocked her everywhere. But here's where karma really hit. About 2 weeks later, a mutual friend told me Leo had a serious girlfriend in Seattle the entire time, over 2 years together. His girlfriend found out about Sonoma County and confronted him. He threw Scarlett under the bus completely, said she pursued him, then blocked her everywhere. So, Scarlett had destroyed our 4-year relationship for a guy who used her and ghosted her. She'd lost me, lost Leo, lost Chloe, who'd been fired for fraud and was living on her sister's couch, unemployed. Meanwhile, I got promoted at work, started dating someone new named Zara, who actually respected me and made me feel better than I had in over a year. Last I heard, Scarlett moved to a different city because too many people knew what she'd done. Sometimes I think about those 4 years and wonder if any of it was real. But mostly, I'm just grateful I found out who she really was before we actually got married. What would you have done if you found those messages?